Yeah. Dan, I'm sorry, I just haven't gotten the little thing that's asked me if I want to be interpreter.
I think you can see it now.
Is the video on?
I see it on my end. You see it on yours?
I do not know.
오늘 이 화상 회의는
There we go. Try it now.
녹화가 되고 있습니다. 참고해 주시기 바랍니다.
Is it working now?
So I can click on Spanish yet, but I haven't been assigned as interpreter. So I don't know if, so I just clicked on Spanish.
Yeah, let's see what that happens. And then
And-
when other people hit Spanish as well, we'll see what happens there.
Because usually I just click a button. It says, do you want to be interpreter? And then I click yes. And this time and then you won't be able to hear me, just them.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Sorry about that. Let's see what happens when I share my screen and we get some other people to join here.
I don't know if maybe Young Sung has gotten something, maybe I haven't gotten it. Have you gotten the thing that says you want to be Korean interpreter?
No, I don't think so. I don't think yeah, they have it.
Okay,
Just
yeah, that's the way it should work.
Dan, can you make me host for a
Oh.
little bit and I'll make sure those settings are right and then I'll give you the hosting rights back.
Yeah, is this you, Elizabeth?
Yes, thank you.
Elizabeth, I see something here just now. So I'm going to try to click on it.
Yeah, thank you, families, for hanging in there as we get the interpretation figured out here. Just 1 second, Elizabeth, let me find Elizabeth, can you talk so you can come up on my screen here?
And I raised my hand, so I should be at the top.
Yeah, okay, let me get you. There we are. All right. Elizabeth, there you go. You got co-hosting powers.
I actually have to be host to enable interpretation.
Gotcha. Okay. There we go. Now you're the host. Thank you, Meadowdale families, for hanging in there. We'll get started here in just a minute. Wouldn't be a Zoom session if we didn't have something we had to figure out here. Families that are with us, if you haven't already, if you can mute yourselves, that would be great so everyone can hear.
The interpreters have been assigned, so everyone can choose a language channel if you click on the interpretation button, including English speakers. Host, co-host, and English speakers choose the English channel. If you speak Spanish and you want Spanish translation, you can click on the Spanish channel. And for Korean, click on the Korean channel, please.
And even English speakers, please select the English speaking option. All right, now I'm gonna get back to our slideshow here. All right, well, welcome Meadowdale Elementary families. So we're gonna share a lot of great information with you tonight. If you have any questions, you can put those in the chat, and I got a couple staff looking at that, helping me out as well, and we'll answer those either as we go along or at the end of the presentation. And since we are simultaneously having this translated, I'm going to pause a little as we go just to make sure our interpreters can keep up with me. All right, as we already mentioned, if you haven't already, if you can find this icon on your screen, including English-speaking families, and make sure that you select either English, Spanish, or Korean. And again, that's English-speaking families as well, because that'll help out when people have questions. The interpreter will be able to come back on and ask the question on behalf of the family. So here are the topics that we will be covering tonight. You've just joined us in the last few minutes. We are recording this meeting, and if you are muted, that would be much appreciated. And I'll try to mute some folks too as we go on, just to so if everyone could check their mute function right now. That would be
No, a la mero es como hasta el año que viene.
okay. And then you can see the rest of the topics we're going to cover tonight. Well, before we get started, I want to start off with a land acknowledgement and acknowledge that we acknowledge the original inhabitants of this place, the Snohomish people and their successors, the Talib tribes, who since time immemorial have taken care of, hunted, fished, and gathered on these lands. And we respect their sovereignty, their right to self-determination, and we honor their sacred spiritual connection with the land and the water. And by acknowledging these homelands, we commit to working with tribal nations to further educational aims they have identified in our classrooms and our schools. All right, well, officially welcome one more time, everyone. My name is Dan Davis, and I am the principal here and starting my 14th year at Meadowdale. And our office manager is Patricia, and she is on with us. Patricia, you want to unmute and say hi so people can see you? Hopefully they pop up to the front of your screen.
Hello, everyone.
And Wendy in the office as well. Wendy, I think you're on the call here. Can you unmute and say hi?
Hi, everybody.
So these two are rock stars. If you need any help, please reach out to them. They're super knowledgeable and super helpful. So if anytime you have any questions throughout the school year on any topic, feel free to reach out to Wendy, Patricia, or myself. We are here for you and we are happy to help you out. So please don't hesitate to email or call or just even stop by in person, and we'll help you out. And some other key folks that you will see in the office area if you ever come to visit us in person. And that is, we have a new role this year with the COVID situation, and that is Melanie Miller. And she has actually been with Meadowdale for a long, long time. So a lot of you will know who Miss Miller is, but she's going to be helping us out. If anyone is showing any signs of being sick, she's going to be our point person to help figure out how that person is feeling and what next steps we should take. And we'll get into a little bit more of that as we go on for the night. And then another person you'll see around in the office area, and that is what we call our student intervention coordinator. And his name is Jason Hansen. And he actually is going to be doing his student teaching as well this year. And so Denise Sams is going to be helping us out. And this is a role that's there for the kids for any reason a child might need some little bit extra support. That's what the main goal of this role is to do. Help in any way that a child might need a little extra help in a way that a counselor or a school psychologist maybe wouldn't be able to do right away. But we do have a school psychologist and counselor. They wear two hats, so to speak, as they have that role of counselor and psychologist. And they're here to help us. So that's a little bit about the folks in the office area. And with the teacher information, so I know everyone really wants to know this information. So we do have a few teachers that are with us tonight, but not all of them. So I'm not going to take the time to go through every single staff member, as we'd be here for a long time. But you will have opportunity to meet your child's teacher via Zoom here in the next week or two. And just want to let everyone know that class lists will be available in Skyward come this Wednesday, September 1st. If you're having any technical difficulties, with that or trying to get onto Skyward, we're going to post the class list just outside of the window here in the office area, so you can swing by the school and look for your class list as well. And so on those, make sure if you come in, if you can mute yourself, that'd be much appreciated. And we also have support staff that are throughout the school. We have learning support teacher, we have a multilingual teacher, we have Title I teachers, and so we have a lot of support staff roles to really help all of our students that go to Meadowdale. And I'm going to show you, so on one of those roles is our Title I roles. And I'm going to quit sharing just for one quick second. And I'm going to share another. Trying to share another screen. I want to share a little bit of a Title I information. We're back to this screen here. For some reason that's not working for me. So, but just to let you know that we are a Title I school. We do receive Title I funds. And from those Title I funds, we have 2 full-time Title I support staff. And the staff is Nicole Hill and Karen Harns. And as the school year gets started, they're going to do some screening tests and with all the kids in the school and see which kids could qualify for a little bit of extra help in reading. And then we'll put together a schedule and support kids who might need a little bit of extra boost and a little bit of help. So that's provided those positions through Title I. And if your child is feeling that he or she might need a little bit of extra support, then either Ms. Hill or Mrs. Harns will reach out to you and talk with you more about how we can support your child. And I'll let our interpreters interpret that. All right. Well, as most of you know, if not all of you, that our first day of school for first grade through 6th grade is Wednesday, September 8th. So if you're a kindergarten family and you are with us on this call right now, remember the first day of classes for the students is actually on Monday, September 3rd. So on Wednesday, the 8th, Thursday, the 9th, and Friday, the 10th, kindergarten families, you were going to sign up with your teacher, your kindergarten teacher your child's been assigned to, for what we call a family connection meeting. And that's going to account or count for your attendance for that first 3 days of school. But the rest of us, 1st through 6th grade, your first day of school is a week from this Wednesday, so on September 8th. And looking at the end of the school year, the last day of school is 24th. So if you are new to us or maybe joined us last year, we are a 8:10 to 8:40 school. We are 8:10 to, I'm sorry, we were an 8:40 to 3:10 school. Last year we were 9 to 3 when we came back from the hybrid situation. So we're back to our original school day of 8:40 to 3:10. But students can arrive any time from 8:10 on. We'll have assigned locations for each class, and we're going to have the kids social distanced in those lines. And we'll have those locations, and we'll help kids those first couple of days making sure they know where to go that first day of school is, where to go. And another thing that the students will do is they'll have a 30-minute either PE, music, or library class a day. So on a typical 5-day week, 1 day each of the weekdays, they will have either PE, music, or library, and they will have 2 PEs, 2 musics, and 1 library throughout a 5-day week. So that's why there's one of those, what we call a specialist type of class each day throughout the week. And then each grade level will have a 20-minute recess, either in the morning or in the afternoon. It depends on when your music PE or library time. So if, for instance, if a grade level has one of those music classes in the morning time, then you're going to have a recess in the afternoon and not in the morning. That way we have natural breaks throughout the whole school day for every grade level. Or if you are a grade level that has a library in the afternoon, then you're going to have a morning recess. That happens for most of the grade levels, how that works out. 6th grade's in a little bit different situation because they also have band and orchestra, so that also provides a break in the day as well with transition. So that's the only grade level that's a little bit off from that routine. And every grade level will have a 20-minute lunch period. And they're gonna then have 5 minutes to exit the lunchroom and then immediately go into a 20-minute recess. And of course, it's gonna be awesome, amazing learning throughout the day. So we're really excited to have everyone joining us. I see a couple questions in the chat, so I'm gonna answer those before we go on. 3rd grade starts on September 8th, so it's 1st through 6th grade all start on Wednesday, September 8th. It is only kindergarten that will be starting on September 13th. So when we have half days, I think that's what the question is. No, so schools, the first day of school is a full day. That's a full day of school. And we will have some half days throughout the school year, and those school days get over at 11:40. And as we come up to one of those, we'll be sending more information out as a whole school communication. All right, and Diane below, you can see in the chat there, she is our librarian, so she put some information in there. Yes, we're going to have a lot of COVID protocols in music, PE, and library, as there's going to be multiple classes coming through those spaces throughout the day. So we're going to make sure that materials are sanitized after each use, and kids are sanitizing as they enter and as they exit those rooms as well. And yes, school this year is back to Monday through Friday. Wednesdays are not a non come to school type of day or a virtual learning kind of day. It is if you're in person, you're in person Monday through Friday. So no more of the Wednesdays where it was just independent work time. Okay, you're caught up in the chat there. So I'm going to move on. Remember, if you have questions, please ask away. All right, so speaking of that arrival time, so again, arrival anytime from 8:10 on. This is the front of the school right here, so you can drive through and drop your kids off. We ask that you say goodbye in the car as you're driving up, and just do a quick stop, have the kids get out, and then move on, because that helps the flow of traffic there. And we'll have our patrol kids out there, socially distanced and everything, but is helping out anyone who might need any help there. And especially for those first couple weeks of school, it'd be nice to have the patrol kids out throughout there all year long, but those first couple of days, that'll be helpful for people to know. Or you can even park over at the park. That's always a great spot. You want to park over at the park and then walk across the crosswalk. We'll have patrols over there. And then you could walk either down this sidewalk, or there's another sidewalk over here back by the bus zone. And you can walk your child to our entry gates. And this year with COVID, we are not allowing any parents or guardians, family members to walk with kids past our gates on either side of our school. We have an entry gate on the front of the school and an entry gate in the back by the bus zone. So make sure to say your goodbyes and everything, either in the cars, you're dropping them off on the curb, or if you park at the park and you're walking them over, just know that the expectation is that you drop them off at our gates, and then we'll have staff there helping kids know where to go. And what we learned from spring when we came back in hybrid was it just took a couple of days for kids to remember where their lineup spot was, and really there wasn't a lot of adult help needed for kids to find their spots. So I anticipate the same thing happening for us this school year for the arrival time. And of course, this is our bus zone. So in the morning, buses will be driving through this bus zone and dropping kids off. And then if you're following my cursor there, there's a set of gates right here that kids will enter the school there, and we'll have adult supervision out there every morning, making sure kids know where to go and everyone's getting inside safely. And here's a better shot of our bus zone entry. Those of you who were with us for hybrid in spring, it's that same entrance that we used. So this time we're going to have buses and kids coming through that way. So we're excited to have more kids joining us this year. And then for dismissal time, so dismissal is different than pickup time. In the aspect of the front of the school, we actually have to close off the front of the school because in the morning time, people show up pretty staggeredly, anywhere from 8:10 to 8:40, but and expectedly so. At the end of the day, everyone shows up right at like 3 o'clock, 3:05. And if we allow this front part of the school to be open, we're going to have cars all the length of the front of the school on the curb and then into the street and down the street. It happened. I've seen it. And many years ago, we just had to stop that process because it was just too unsafe. It was actually blocking the road there between us and the middle school. And it doesn't happen often, but we have had emergency vehicles need to come between the two schools right at dismissal time, not necessarily for a school issue, but in the neighborhood. And if we had that whole walkway or driveway area packed and then cars into the street, it'll just take one car going the opposite direction, and there's just literally no space for an emergency vehicle to get by. So for dismissal, it's a little bit different. We ask that you definitely park at the park and walk over if you want to pick up your child. We're actually really encouraging people to just wait at the park. And we did that last year and it worked out just perfect. You can wait anywhere on this park. We got a lot of space over there. So you can just park and have your child walk across the street and meet you. For the first couple of days, I can imagine some families with some younger kids, you might want to meet them either in the front of the school, which would be the best place as opposed to the bus zone. So I'd ask that you meet your child in the front of the school just to make sure they know where they're going maybe the first couple of days, but then transition and make your way to having your child meet you at the park if you're going to be someone who's going to pick up your child every single day. I'm just going to pause for a second for our translators. And then, of course, if you're a bus rider, same bus zone, kids will be exiting through those same gates, and we'll have bus signs so kids know what buses to go on. Kindergarten students will be making sure that they are with either an adult or a sixth grade helper and make sure they get onto the right bus. And then if you're a kindergarten parent, you're the only parents that we actually expect and need you to walk onto campus and pick up your child. We have designated spots for kindergarten families. And kindergarten families, if you weren't at our kindergarten only informational night last week, you can reach out to your teacher and they'll show you where your designated pickup spot is. And that will be something that you do every single day, either you or an assigned family member or another person that you agree with the teacher on who's going to pick up your child every day. So kindergarten is the only grade level that we actually need you to walk onto campus and meet your child. all other grade levels, if we can train them to walk on their own up the pathway here and then across the street and meet you at the park, that's going to be the best safety measure we can take with the most social distancing that we can provide. I see, before I move on, can kids use a trail in the back of the school? Yeah, definitely. If your child is a walker and you've already, you're okay with them walking home, there's that entrance or exit, if you will, in the back of the play fields. They can go through there. Some kids use the crosswalk over between us and the middle school, and they walk over there. That's okay to do as well. So it's totally up to you, family, how you have your children get home, as there are multiple ways that kids can walk home. And yep, thank you, Carol, Mrs. Saint for jumping on that. Yes, kindergartners can be picked up by other kids. I personally have 2 kids that go to Meadowdale. I just live here in the neighborhood. And when my kids were in kindergarten, it was, my first one, it was either myself or my wife picked them up. And then when my second one was here, my oldest daughter came and picked up my youngest daughter. So yeah, definitely siblings can do that. That's why we have those parent connection meetings with all the kindergarten families. So families of kindergartners, you can let your teachers know exactly how your child's getting picked up and on the same page as that goes. Okay, and then yes, on the bus, the transportation department's working on that as far as social distancing going and making sure that they're taking social distancing protocols. And I believe we get a little bit more into that information here in a few more slides. So that's arrival and dismissal procedures. A couple more pictures there. So our lunchroom, and it's actually, we use the term commons quite a bit. So if you ever hear us say the commons, we're referring to the lunchroom. A reason for that is it's a common space. We have our morning lineup in here for some grade levels. We have lunch in here. When we can have assemblies, we can clear out all this stuff and have assemblies in here. When band or orchestra perform, they often will perform in this space as well. So it's kind of like a common area used for multiple reasons. So that's why we use the term commons quite a bit. So if you hear that term commons, it is the lunchroom. So students will, for lunch, we have it spread out the best we possibly can for social distancing. You can see some dots here where we're gonna have kids sit as they come in. They'll have tables for each classroom, and the kids will sit spread out facing one direction for the most part, the best we can. So there's some doors over here you can't see. Kids are getting hot lunch. We'll enter these doors. They'll walk down by this wall here with all those sports teams of the Seattle area up there. And then they'll come through and get their hot lunch food if they're getting that, and then find their seat. And we always have staff in the lunchroom. Those staff will be there to help make sure that kids are getting to their seats and they're doing it in a socially distanced way. And then we'll have kids facing the direction you see here of these rectangle tables. And we're asking that kids keep their masks on when they enter and when they get their food, and then just masks off when they are sitting down. And then when they raise their hand and get permission to go dump their food or throw their food away and recycle and compost, and we do all those, then we ask that they put their mask back on and then return to their seat until they are dismissed for recess time. And yes, that floor is looking nice and shiny there. It's pretty awesome when the school year starts off. We get the floors all shiny and looking good. Same with our gym as well. It's all nice and shiny right now too. So love that comment in there. That's our awesome custodians working hard to make that happen. I think I saw something about eating outside. It's a great idea. The challenge with eating outside is the coordination of having 7 different grade levels, being able to go outside, finding space for it, having enough adult supervision. Because when it's lunchtime, it's also the classroom teacher's lunchtime as well. So I don't have a bunch of extra adults around. So right now, our plan is to use the lunchroom, even if it's a nice day, just 'cause I don't have enough adults to spread out people throughout the whole school to eat outside. And we're gonna have 4 different lunch cycles. So that means we have 4 different recesses. And so when one group is eating, there's going to be another group outside at recess, and that also limits the amount of outside space we have that has, good supervision sight lines. And so what a classroom looks like. So, oh, before I see one more question about ventilation. Yeah, we definitely keep the doors open. Especially on nice days for extra ventilation, and we'll do that as well. We actually have a great HVAC system, so we actually don't need to worry about our doors being open too much, because that actually is counterproductive, and it's actually making the HVAC system work even harder. But we tend for the lunchroom, just because there's more people in that compared to a regular classroom, tend to keep our lunchroom doors open. On cold days, it gets really cold in there, so we keep them shut for those days. And another good question there about the lunchroom. After each lunch cycle, we have a 5-minute time where there's no one in there, and then there are kitchen staff and a designated support staff person in there. And then if I'm in there too, I'm an extra set of hands, and we wipe down all the tables before the next round of kids come in. And all the kids are expected to wash their hands in the classrooms before they come down to the lunchroom. So that process will be done before they enter the lunchrooms. And we used to, a while ago, have it where kids went to recess first and then came in from the playground and had lunch. But due to COVID, we're going to switch that back and do lunch first, then recess, because then we know for sure kids are washing their hands before they enter the lunchroom, and then when they go off to recess, and then when they come back from recess in their own classrooms, they can wash their hands again. So this, and the reason why I picked these 2 classrooms, because these are the classrooms where right now I have the most students in these classrooms. So I wanted to be just realistic and show everyone that this is a classroom that can sit, I think we have 30 kids in this classroom. And the CDC recommendation is 3 feet apart, and that is as best as possible. So in some classrooms, when we have maybe 18, 20 kids, we could take out 2 or 3 of these tables and spread the rest of the tables out even more. So every classroom configuration is going to be a little bit different looking depending on the amount of students in there, because we are not going to have any extra desks in the classroom if we don't need to. But right now, all teachers are just starting to come back. So these are the couple ones that already had some things set up, just to give you an idea of some ideas out there, possibly putting down, some kind of tape, and showing the kids there, and really having them sit as far on the edge of these tables as possible, or even sitting on the sides of the table for as much as possible as well. So we're going to work really hard to keep that 3 distance spacing as possible. And we have some walkways here that are 3 feet apart in between the chairs here. So we're doing all that we possibly can to provide as much spacing as we possibly can. And like I said, every classroom is a little bit different, just depending on the number of kids that are assigned to it. I see another question in the chat there about HVAC. We have our HVAC system cranked, and we have new filters. We're getting filters changed on a routine basis. So the HVAC system is working the hardest it's ever worked since I've been here. Great airflow going on. So that's back to my comment I made a few minutes ago. That's why we don't need to have a bunch of doors open, because it actually just causes the HVAC system to compete with incoming air, which actually makes it a little bit less effective. We learned that last spring. So we definitely have HVAC going on superpower. And some teachers might, and I've talked with a few teachers, I see some in there chat about dividers. Some teachers are thinking about that and having that as a possibility, maybe putting up some kind of easy divider that can be taken up and taken down. it can get kind of tricky when you get into a bunch of those dividers and stuff. Having them, making sure they stay up and that kind of stuff. And so we're going to be working through a lot of different things just to kind of see what makes realistic sense and keeping everyone as safe as possibly can. Oh, someone asked what the blue on the table is. It's just like a name kind of holder thing, or a pencil holder kind of thing. So that's an idea of a classroom there. And a neat thing with our classrooms, you can see on the picture on the left here, we have what's called large format display screens. So about 2 or 3 years ago, all of our classrooms had these installed. So basically super huge, like TV-like screens. And our laptops can sync to those and connect to those. So if we're showing something on our computer screen, it can be projected onto the big screen. Or if we're showing an educational video or a tutorial or how to launch to start a lesson, we can show that on these big screens. So it's pretty cool. And we have in our classrooms, everyone's going to be facing towards that big screen because that makes the most logical sense. So kids could see that screen. And the expectation is when teachers are starting for classes this week, that everyone is facing the same direction. Pause for our interpreters. All right, so if your student is out sick or needs to quarantine because of COVID, we're going to work with you to make sure they receive assignments. There's a lot more information about this in just our overall state attendance policy on this link. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to email out these slides as well as a recording of this meeting so you can have access to this information. And then if we have to close a whole classroom down for any reason, then that classroom will go remote for however long they need to, or if just a school has to do that, then we'll revert back to remote learning. The beauty is we have a lot of experience with that last year, and everyone has laptops. So that process should go a little bit smoother if we get to that. I see a question in the chat about staff and being vaccinated. If people probably heard Governor Inslee last week said that all school employees, it's a requirement that they get vaccinated. So our school level leadership and HR department are working on that and how that looks. And how to, as staff and employees, make sure we turn in that information. So we're waiting for more of that information to come out, but yes, that is the expectation per the governor that all school employees are vaccinated. And I think that deadline is October 18th, if I recall right. And then so with Chromebooks, we're asking that students take their Chromebooks home each day. Again, just in case something comes up and either your child is feeling ill or something happens and we realize that either close contact or a class needs to be quarantined, then they'll already have those Chromebooks in their hands. And like the previous slide, we can just transition to remote learning if what we need to and make sure learning continues. And everyone should have a Chromebook, a district issued one in their hands. If you're just brand new to us and don't, reach out to us and we'll make sure that we'll get you the right contact information to our tech team of the department or at the district office to get you set up with that. And yes, I see a question in the chat about using laptops when they're in person. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, kids will be doing some learning with their laptops in school. Some lessons are designed more than others to use information and resources that we have district-wide. So for sure, there's going to be some combination of usage of Chromebooks during the school day, as well as paper, pencil type of activities. All right. COVID-19. So let's get into this here for a little bit. So safety is our number1 priority. And we're going to require that masks are required inside and outside while on campus, including our playground and recess times as well. And as I talked about before, we're gonna really work hard to maintain the physical distancing as best as we possibly can. I've already talked about the lunchroom and the classroom. And before arriving at school, we're just really asking families to help us out. If you have any of those kind of symptoms, please hold your child back and let us know. We'll talk through some things and help you out. And if you're feeling sick with these COVID times, we're asking that you don't push through it, kind of thing. Just stay home to make sure that it's not COVID and that everyone is staying as healthy as possible. And there is a district provided handbook about all things COVID, and you can check that out here. And like I said, when I send this slide deck out, you'll be able to access that, or you can just go to the Edmond School District website and put in COVID-19 handbook, and you can find it that way as well. It's always being updated. As we know, there's things ever changing with COVID, unfortunately. And right now, for this year, we are not doing the digital check-ins like we did last year. For those of us that were came back to us in hybrid, we were checking everyone at that back gate, like I showed earlier. We are not going to be doing that for the start of this school year. We're asking families to really help us out and make sure you're checking yourselves and your students, again, for those symptoms like I already mentioned, before coming to school. And same with us staff too. If we're not feeling good, we ought to not come to school and potentially expose anyone as well. So again, we are not doing those health attestations is what the title was of those. So those health checks. So you won't be getting those emails to do that on a daily basis. Or for some that we're doing some paper copies on a daily basis, we're not expected to do that this school year. I see a couple questions in the chat, and I'll get to those in just seconds. So again, COVID-19 symptoms, I know we've all heard a lot of these lately, but it's a reminder there about fever, temperature, and coughs, breathing difficulties, chills, fatigue, and those aches. So again, we'd rather have you err on the side of caution. If your child is feeling any of these, please keep them at home, call us, let us know, and then we can figure out what the next best step is to do. There's some more symptoms there. Headache, sore throat, loss of taste or smell, runny nose, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. And like I said before, we're going to be cleaning and disinfecting throughout the whole day, having kids wash their hands, washing off tables in the lunchroom, coming and going from different areas like music PE library rooms, wiping those areas off. So we're going to be going through a lot of hand sanitizer and wipes to make sure everything is staying as clean as possible, including the classroom too, cleaning throughout the day when needed as well. And I already talked about the HVAC system. It's on max to help with the airflow getting changed out. Again, we're going to do a lot of hand washing. And before we get to the video, I just want to answer a couple of questions I see in the chat. And no, thanks, Patricia, for helping me out with some of those. Yeah, if you do want to change your mind from either remote to in-person or in-person to remote, you have to go through a district intent change form. So check that out online on the district website. We are not doing those requests at the school level right now. Those are all through the district for right now. Contact tracing works is we will identify the child who's sick, obviously, and then every teacher is going to have their own seating chart, and then we'll start with the seating chart, and then everything's situational, right? So it depends on what time of day that we get the information that someone maybe not is feeling well, and then then we'll assess the situation and see who we're sitting next to that kid or near that kid and for how long, and then just determine who was the close contact, and then inform families and make a decision from there. And yes, we do have a nurse. We have a nurse only 2 days of the week though. So the other 3 days of the week will be the office staff and myself, and as I mentioned before, our health room support staff and Miss Miller as well. So we'll be the ones that will start the process of assessing how a child is feeling, what the symptoms are, and then if we need to do contact tracing. Yes, masks will be required for outside at recess time. Oh, the district phone number for the Chromebooks. So yeah, maybe Patricia or Wendy, if you can put in the chat that contact information, because I don't have it right at my fingertips. And for kindergartners, we're not exactly sure when we're going to have the laptops to give to you, so we're still waiting on that information. Just last week, we swapped out laptops for our first graders and our fifth graders. Those are the only 2 grade levels that we needed to do a swap out for. So we're waiting for the tech department district-wide to get the kindergarten inventory together. So I don't have a date yet on the kindergarten inventory. I see a question there about are all faculty currently vaccinated, and I'm not privy to that information. So I can't answer that question. And medication. So our office staff support are trained by our nurse to administer any type of medication that a child will need. So it'll be our office staff that will administer medication if the nurse isn't present. And Wendy and Patricia are awesome, and they can easily handle that, no problem at all. And I can't answer that question of how long it takes if you want to switch one way or the other, because the district is handling that. So I don't know the time frame on that one. Winnie or Patricia, you might know that one a little bit more than I do. I see another one in the chat there. If you have more than one child, would you keep them both out? Yeah, again, that's your call. It kind of depends on is the family, you know the situation better than we do. I could possibly be in that same boat with my own 2 girls. So it's just one of those things where you have to kind of think of what's the situation and make that decision. Probably a good rule of thumb would be most likely, yeah, keep them both out because you're in the same household. But I don't think we have a set expectation on that one. Okay, I think we are caught up with questions in the chat. Okay. I see another question about how long we're going to stay at school. Hopefully we can be here every single day in person. That is the goal, to not have to go to remote. So that's the goal. Oh, I see a question there about school lunch pricing. Actually, this year it's awesome. They're all meals are free, both breakfast and lunch. So there is no cost to students, no matter what any kind of situation might be economically at home. It doesn't matter. Every student can get free breakfast and free lunch. And we had that last spring too, and it was really, really nice. Okay, I see some information in the chat there about remote learning, so that's great. So people can check out there. If you do have a current balance, I know the district is going to want people to still pay those balances, so you could still work on paying your balance. That's my understanding as of today. All right, let's see here. If I hit this video about hand washing, we're going to transition back to this. Hey, it worked here. I'm just going to pause really fast to make sure. Can everyone hear that? Patricia, can you hear it?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you there. All right, here we go.
One way to stop the spread of germs is to wash your hands. When you get the school, the first thing you would do is wash your hands. Let's talk about the best way to wash your hands. Step 1. Use warm water and soap. Rub your hands really well and make lots of bubbles. Step 2. Wash for 20 seconds. That's like singing happy birthday 2 times. Step 3. Rinse your hands really well. Step 4. Use a paper towel to make sure they're nice and dry. Shut off the water using the paper towel and throw the paper towel away in the bin. Washing hands with warm water and soap is the best. The other option is to use hand sanitizer. There will be several times throughout the day for you to wash your hands or sanitize.
All right, great little video there. Let's see if I can get this back in present mode here. Before I get over there, I do see a couple more questions in the chat. I would imagine, yes, if you have money on your student's account and you want to get it refunded, you can do that. I don't have the information on my fingertips about that. But give us a call here in the office and we can make sure we get you to the right people on that one. And yeah, definitely kids can bring their own hand sanitizer. I know that the school or the teachers, when they're going to lunch and that kind of stuff, are going to be using the hand sanitizer that we have here at school. But more hand sanitizer, the better, definitely. I see a question there about siblings and quarantining. Yeah, I'd have to kind of go back and double check and read that COVID handbook protocol. And the kind of the challenging thing is, a lot of things are recommendations. So when it says recommendation, we follow that as a recommendation. It can't become a requirement. So on that particular one, I'd have to circle back and see if it's changed from a recommendation to a requirement. I don't know that off the top of my head right now. Again, that's talking about the siblings and if a sibling is sick as well. Okay, so we got the hand hygiene. We just watched that video there. We'll move along here. And proper mask wearing. We're gonna watch another video here.
What you need to know about mask wearing at school. Before you leave for school, be sure to grab a clean mask and 2 or 3 extras to keep with you. You'll also need a bag or a container to put your used masks in if they get dirty and wet while you're at school. That's when those extra masks will come in handy. If you forget your mask or run out of clean masks at school, don't worry. Your school will have an extra for you to wear. Now let's talk about the correct way to put on, wear, and remove your face mask. Step 1. Wash or sanitize your hands. Step 2. Hold your mask by the ear loops when you put it on over your ears. Step 3. Make sure it fits well across your face. The mask needs to be over your nose and under your chin and fit snugly around your face. If your mask has an adjustable piece on the nose, pinch it so it fits really well. Step 4. When your mask gets dirty, wet, or it's time to take it off, remove it by the ear loops. Don't touch the front of the mask. That's where the germs are. Place the mask in a container or in a storage bag that you brought from home for safekeeping. If your mask can be thrown on a table, put it in the garbage. If your mask is the kind you can reuse, be sure to take it home and wash it. Step 5. This is very important. Make sure after you take your mask off that you wash your hands or use sanitizer to wash those germs away.
All right. Great videos there. I'm gonna stop sharing this for a second because it looks like I have to reshare so I get that screen to format better. So here we go. Interesting, doesn't want to format for me. Okay, we're just gonna move on here. All right, and as I've already touched on this, you're really limiting access to how many people are in our school. So right now, it's only unfortunately open to the students and district staff. I mean, we love volunteers, we love having families on campus, but we just can't do it right now. So our campuses are going to be closed, and hopefully we can get back to having family and volunteers on campus. And our main office is going to be open, but in a little bit of a different way. For those of you who've been around, it's kind of like the drive up window type of scenario. We're going to stick to that. It's just easier for us to help you out that way, and it helps keep everyone as safe as possible. So our office front door will be locked, but we have that window right by the office open, like a service kind of window, and there's a bell right there, so you can ring that. And there's also the doorbell kind of bell by the door entrance door. You can also push that, and then that rings our phones, and then we'll come and help you out as well. Again, we love to have volunteers on campus, and especially I know our kindergarten teachers are probably just dying right now because they love volunteers. But right now we just can't do it. So that's why we talked earlier about those gates, the front gates, using that as the farthest point with your child, and then we got it from there. I see a couple of questions in the chat. One about recesses. So we're gonna try recesses in a couple of different ways. So for kindergarten classrooms, well, first of all, let me say our main goal is to keep classrooms by themselves as much as possible, because we know that term cross-pollinating, the less we can do that, the better, to keep us all safe and healthy. So for kindergarten, we have 3 kindergarten classes, and kindergarten is the only grade level that has their own recess time, just because it's the best thing for those young kiddos. And they're gonna have, we're gonna set up 3 zones, so split our playground into thirds, and then they're gonna rotate on a daily basis through each zone. And then for our 1st through 6th graders, our best thinking at this time right now is we're going to split the playground in half. So besides kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade are together, then 3rd and 4th are together, and then 5th and 6th are together, and they're together for 2 different recess times throughout the day. So we're going to split the playground in half and have 1st grade, for instance, 1st and 2nd graders out there together. 1st grade will be on one half of the playground. 2nd grade classes will be on the other half of the playground, and then we'll just go through that rotation every day. So 1st grade on one side will be on the left side, and then the next day they'll be on the right side. So there's different stuff to play with throughout the week. There's just not enough space to have an individual zone for each classroom. Again, if you think of our 1st and 2nd grade, we are going to be having 3 1st grade classrooms and 3 2nd grade classrooms. That means that's a total of 6 classrooms out on the playground at one time. And to create 6 zones, there just wouldn't be enough space for kids to be able to do anything that's productive. So that's why we have to do splitting the playground in half. So that's going to be our recess plan. And of course, there's pros and cons to everything. Some people loved the way we did it in spring, where all the grade level or the classes just stay together. But then some people didn't like it because they wanted to be able to be with their other friends in other classes. So this one's kind of a meeting in the middle, so to speak, where we're going to divide the playground in half and have that scenario I just explained there. And again, we're going to ask that kids wash their hands before they go outside and when they come back in as well. So that should be helpful too. Yeah, lunch menus should be on our district website. Let's look at some more stuff in the chat. Yes, we do have a before and after school. Not necessarily any activities yet. Possibly Move 60. I know they're working on offering a Move 60 program, but it usually is only for 2nd through 6th graders. So I'm waiting to hear back some more information about that. So we don't have a lot of after school activities that are school run right now. We do have before and after school childcare provided by the organization called Right at School. So if that is a situation that you need help with, let us know and we'll get you the right contact information. There is a school supply list on our website already. And also here, we have paper copies here in the office as well. You can swing by and pick up one anytime. We're really trying to make those school supply lists not super long. So not a ton of items on there, but definitely a few things you can pick up. Again, so another slide here, moving on here. Already talked about this. And as I said before, I'm not quite sure what the how the requirement is going to be for all of us, the school employees, to prove our vaccination. We're still waiting to hear back on that process. We do have COVID-19 testing kits here available at the school. So for any students or staff that are showing any kind of symptoms, we do have that available. We'll obviously ask parent permission before we do that. But that's a pretty cool thing that we have here on site that we can take and get done. It's not the rapid test. We don't get it back, within minutes, but we will get it back within a couple of days. So at least it'll save families a step on going somewhere and getting that done. And if that comes up, then we'll be talking with families to figure out if they want to do it, and then how, if so, how do we do it? There's a question in the chat about back to recesses. And last spring, we did sanitize between recesses, and we were kind of deciding if that's something that's needed this year, because it's only the same group of kids are going to be using the same recess equipment. We're going to have, so as I talked about with those other recesses, so like when first and second grade go out, I'll just keep using that as an example. We're going to have tubs of equipment just for first graders and tubs of equipment just for second graders. So that way we can at least make sure kids aren't using the same materials throughout the day, from different cohorts of kids. So we're going to be doing that. And we have some spray stuff that we can use for equipment that we did in spring, and then we'll most likely do that again this year as well. There's some performing arts expectations, and those are getting kind of figured out right now. So this means, like, in the elementary world, this really just means our music classrooms. So really figuring out what is the best safety protocol for mask wearing, and how to do some singing in class. And so I know our music teacher, Miss Estes, she's working with our district point people for the music room and making sure the right procedures are taken, and making sure that we have all masks of the right kind of masks for kids to use if there's going to be singing in the classroom. Unlike the lunch times, Miss Estes can take classes outside because they're just one at a time. So you can do that for singing, and with instruments, any kind of instruments will be sanitized after each cohort of kids that come through. And just like with any class, like we talked about, kids will be wearing masks when they transition to a music PE or library setting. So we're still working on a few more details as far as the music room expectations go. This really doesn't participate to us in the elementary world, because in the elementary world we don't have or offer any kind of sports, but I just want to make sure people knew that. But middle school and high school, they have their protocols that they are following themselves. And school bus information, so yep, same expectation on the bus, required to wear a mask on the bus. You should have your bus route information. If you haven't received that, call us here in the office. We'll help you out. The schools themselves don't coordinate bus routes. That's all through the transportation department. So if you have any questions on what time or where or why a time or location, that is all through the transportation department. So only thing we can help you out with is here's the transportation phone number, because all we do we're the conveyors of that information. So we can't help out with, if a time's not good for you kind of thing, or location. So you got to work with the transportation on that. But hopefully, if you're going to be a bus rider, you have that information on what bus you're going to be riding and when the pickup time in the morning is going to be and the drop off time in the afternoon. And I see some information there about the testing again, and we won't test any kids unless we have parent permission. That is for the COVID, that is. So there's a new way to access bus information. So you can see it there. So again, when we email this out, this could be a good slide to refer back to. And we have the list of all the kids who are at school, what bus they ride. So in those first couple of days, if kids forget what their bus number is, we'll have that whole list. We'll have lots of adults to help them out. So kids don't have to worry about not knowing their bus number right off the top of their heads right out of the first day. Yeah, and when it comes to bus riding, there's no like attendance taken on a bus ride. So on any given day, if you're just going to pick up your child instead of have them come or take the bus, yeah, that's totally fine. It's helpful for us to know if you're doing that though, because sometimes kids will like throughout the course of the day, they might like forget, was I supposed to take the bus? Was that today? Was that tomorrow? So it's just helpful for us to know if you're like a routine bus rider and something's changing, just call the office and let us know that your child's being picked up. So if that child is asking us what they need to do at the end of the day, we're informed and we can help them out and let them know, no, don't get on the bus because a family member called and you're supposed to go across for the park today. So yes, you can ride the bus any day you want or not ride the bus any day you want. And I already mentioned this. This is awesome, awesome news. Free breakfast and lunch for all. And oh, look at there. I think we had some questions about the menus in the chat. And there we go. Should be available on our school website, the menus now. But if you do need financial support, and it is helpful to have the free and reduced application filled out, we have those here and we can help you out with that. We have them in English and Spanish. We're happy to help you fill those out. So just let us know if you need a copy of those forms. I see a question there about I think Skyward login. Yeah, if you're just registering your child, sometimes it takes a day or two to get your Skyward information. So just keep calling us if you're not seeing that and we can help you out. Another way to get a printed application is you can call the number there, district website. And like I said, we have hard copies, paper copies of those free and reduced forms here at school as well. Hey, speaking of Skyward there, yeah, so this is a great location to get as much information as you need on how things are going. So you can see all the information there. So you definitely want to make sure you have a Skyward account. Make sure you have the right contact information in there. It's really important that you have the main email and the main phone number that you want to have in there, because we will send communication out sometimes as an email to the whole school or a recorded voicemail that I will do with information. We'll send that out to everyone. So you really want to make sure that you have where it's asked for your primary email and your primary phone number, make sure that is the right number you want and the one you check often, because that's going to be the main number or email that information goes out to. Or if you've been with us for a long time and your phone numbers change or your emails change, make sure to update that. If you need help logging into Skyward, call Winnie or Patricia anywhere from 8 to 3, and they can help you figure out how to make sure you get into Skyward if you're having troubles with that. Oh, and I saw from one of our teachers that back to that topic of if you're changing your mind on how a child is going to get home for the day, it's really helpful to call the office at all possible, and then we'll relay the information to the teacher, because teachers are they're going at it all day long doing some great teaching, and they're not necessarily sitting there watching emails to see what's coming through for the day, or checking their voicemails for that matter, because if they're in the middle of a great lesson, they're not going to stop and answer the phone, especially if it's a number they may not recognize. Office staff, yes, they do that because that's usually means that we need to talk to them. So that means that it's really helpful if you call the office and just say, hey, I'm in, Mr. Davis's class. I just want to let you know that my daughter, my daughter Zara, she's going to be taking the bus today, or not taking the bus. Somebody picking her up. So if you can give her a heads up on that, that'd be great. And then we'll run that message up to the classroom so that student knows. All right. Oh, and here's a little plug from the district. A lot of jobs out there, especially in the support staff kind of role, paraprofessional jobs in food service or bus drivers. Those are just a couple of key positions that they're really looking for. So even if you're looking for just part-time work during the school day, that could be something to look into. So definitely check out the district's website for available jobs. And Patricia just put in the chat the best number to call the office if you need help with anything. So you see that in the chat there, 425-431-7754 is the best number to call the office. All right, well, that's all the information I want to cover. I know there was a lot. Oh, one last thing, I meant to mention this a few slides back is we already did this with our kindergarten families. We had a kindergarten only informational night, and I have asked all the other grade levels, so 1st through 6th grade, to host a similar type of night for the grade level. So you all can put some names and faces with the teachers if you haven't seen them yet, if you're new to our school. Since we can't have you walk onto campus and we can't have a traditional meet the teacher night like we normally would do before school, where you could come in and meet the teacher in person. So be looking for communication from your teachers once you are able to know who that is, which again is this coming Wednesday. And then so that'll be an opportunity to have a meeting. What's a little bit different than this, you'll get to know more specifics about your grade level, what the teachers are expecting, and asking specific questions of those teachers in the grade level. So those times will be coming out pretty soon. We should have that information available in just a couple of days. I see a question in the chat about does the school need help with additional supplies? We definitely will take any kind of donations of supplies. That's really helpful to get more stuff in our hands. Every school, you get so much money as far as a budget, and you just got to make it last as long as we possibly can for the school year. And so anything that we get supply wise, we're happy to take. Probably a good thing to do would be call the office, and we could talk through with you what are the best kind of items. And there are a couple things it's nice to get the right kind of brand of, because they last a little bit longer. We've learned that over time. So we would love to help you out, helping us out. So yeah, if you're interested in that, just give us a call. We can talk more about it. And we are, I see another question there about school supplies, and we are providing a lot of school supplies already. But we do ask for a little bit of extra help, and that's why we do have a supply list for each grade level. We put it all on just one piece of paper, and those are on our school website, and then also just here in paper format at the school as well. Or if worst comes to worst, call the office and we can tell your grade level and a couple key things you need to. Any other questions? Alan, I see your hand up. I don't know if that's, I'm gonna unmute you. Alan, do you have a question? You can unmute yourself, Alan, and ask me if you have a question. All right, Marta, do you have a question? Nope, you just have your hand up there, okay? No, you took it off, all right. Any other questions out there? Thanks for those saying thanks to me in the chat, I appreciate it. It's gonna take a big team effort this year. So I'm looking forward to it. They're really excited to have the whole school back in person. That's just super exciting. It's been a long time since we've had the whole school back. So next Wednesday, the 8th, can't come fast enough, especially the 13th when we have the kindergartners here too. That's gonna be a super cool day.
Dan, there's a question. Someone's raising their hand. Daomi Galaxy, if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, go ahead and unmute yourself.
The question is, you have that information for me, the name of the teacher, my daughter?
That's going to be available on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it'll be in your Skyward account, as well as we're going to post the class list just outside the office area here on our windows. We could just walk up and look for your grade level and then your teacher your child is assigned to.
Wednesday 1st?
Yeah, Wednesday the 1st. Yep, in a couple days.
Okay. So the other question is, so I not have to do anything like fill it up the application for the free meal?
No, not at all. Only if you need that form for any kind of financial assistance that's beyond what you need here at school. But for this year, all meals for all kids, both breakfast and lunch, are free. We don't even have to worry about the school PIN numbers like we have had to in the past, for those of you who have been around for a while. So it's a pretty cool thing that we have going on for this upcoming school year.
That's good. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I saw a question there about camp for 6th graders, and right now there are no plans for camp for the school year, obviously because of COVID, and definitely not in fall. So we'll just kind of have to hang tight on that one and see how the year goes and if that is something that's even allowed come spring. So that's just kind of a wait and see thing. Field trips. There's a question. Field trips actually can happen, surprisingly. So that's one. We'll kind of have to see how many grade levels are up for pulling that off, because obviously that's going to require a lot of extra coordination with protocol stuff, and how many places are actually accepting people to come in for a field trip. But it is something that we can do. But we'll have to just kind of wait and see how all the protocol stuff goes, but it is something that we can pull off though.
So I have another question.
Yes.
I have to wait for the bus or the bus call me, or I have to call the office, the bus for what number is or what time they're coming, because every time the bus call me is the number for your daughter, you know, but nobody called me yet. So
Yeah, if you haven't been called by the Chest State Department yet, I would say call us and we'll try to help figure out what's going on, and we should be able to access the list they've created, and we can look up for you what your bus number is, your pickup and drop off times.
okay.
Yeah, great questions. I see some more questions there in the chat. So I'm still waiting to hear from the district on exactly Seesaw, which was a learning platform we used for kindergarten through 2nd graders last spring, as well as Canvas for 3rd through 6th grades. So I believe teachers are still going to be using those platforms. So that's something you need to kind of touch base with your teacher and see how much of that they're going to be using this year as far as, communication or assignments go. I'm gonna stop sharing here. Let's see here. Any other questions I can answer? But I know for sure, yeah, kindergarten loves Seesaw, so they'll be using that. I think a lot of people, like kindergarten to second grade, really love Seesaw. So I'm anticipating a lot of teachers, if not all, kindergarten to second grade using Seesaw to some degree. We do not have an SRO or security person on campus. Those are usually at the high school level, and with different funding reasons, ever since I've been around, it's been kind of hit and miss if high schools have them or not. So I don't know what the status is for this year, but we've never had one on an elementary campus before. Okay, any other questions there? I think we answered them all. Someone has another answer, you can unmute and just ask away.
So what time the office is open in the morning?
Anywhere from 8 to 3 o'clock is your best window of time to catch one of us.
Okay.
Any other questions? I see a question there about lockers. No, we do not have lockers at all in the whole school, kindergarten through 6th grade. Lockers are more of a middle school, high school kind of thing. We have like these rolling carts that have like cubbies in them. And so we use those for a locker type of thing, but it's that way you can put your backpack in there. There's one per kid. Every classroom has a set of those that they usually keep outside of the classroom right as you walk in. I see a question about screen time. I can't tell you that answer just because any given day, different lessons will require a different amount or no screen time at all. So it'll vary day to day how much screen time that each kid will be having at school. But we do have some pretty cool programs where some kids can work independently and that and then a teacher could work one-on-one, of course, social distancing, of course, with some kids. So there are some pretty cool programs that kids will be using at times throughout a school day or a week. Thanks for those compliments in the chat. Much appreciated. Yeah, we have a very awesome staff. We just have just fantastic, amazing teachers all the way from kindergarten to 6th grade. Our office staff is amazing. I just feel really lucky to have just great staff to work with. Your kids are going to be in great hands, and we are so excited to see them. I'm not sure if it's going to be acquired or not. We'll have to wait and see kind of all the protocol stuff. So kind of hang tight on that one. Well, you can sign off if you don't have any other questions, but you're more than welcome to hang on, and I'll stay on here for a little bit longer and ask any questions that might come up. Feel free just to unmute and ask away. I see a question there of protocol if a faculty member gets COVID. Same thing with kids. We'll see the contact tracing, what time of day did it affect, because obviously with a teacher they're going to be around more than just a couple kids that are by the speed chart. So we'll just follow that contact tracing protocol of who was near the teacher and for how long, just then figure out who that is and then contact those people and then plan accordingly. And then we get the nurse involved. Even if she's not on campus, we'll call her. The neat thing is that our nurse just works across the street at Meadowdale Middle School. So at any point she can zip over here and help us out. And then conversely, if the middle school really needs something, you can walk right over and help them out too. So a lot of things are just situational and the checklist that we'll go through. Yes, my understanding is there will be masks mandated to be while riding the school bus as well. Any other questions? I see a question, how is lunch served? So, kids can either bring lunch from school, and then if that's the case, when they are walked down to the lunchroom by their teacher after washing their hands in the classroom, they will just go to their assigned table and they can start eating. And if they're getting hot lunch, then if you remember that picture I showed towards the beginning of this of the slide, they'll enter the lunchroom, and there's a far wall there in that picture that they will line up social distance wise and get their hot lunch food, and then return, or then go to their assigned table and then start eating there. So that's how we're going to do lunch.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
When my kindergartner was at the thing last week, something happened across the street. If there's another accident like that, how would you guys have us pick up our children?
Yeah, so if there's anything that happens like nearby in our neighborhood, you can always reach out to our school counselor. If you happen to be in a neighborhood and something happens and your child sees something, then and you'd like to have your child, process the situation, you can always call us, and we'll get you in touch with our school counselor. So that's one thing you can do. If there's ever an emergency, we have processes that we take, whether we, if we have to evacuate the building, or if we have a lockdown in the school, then we have everything locked down. So we have different emergency plans for different situations, and every month we practice some type of emergency situation, whether it be a lockdown type of situation or like a fire drill type of situation. So depending on what the situation is, we just plan accordingly. If school's in session and something happens over at the park, it just depends on what it is. If it needs to be locked down, then we'll lock down the school until it's resolved. Or if maybe we just can't use the park for that afternoon, so we'll have to open up the front and have people come by and pick up kids for that time frame. So we'll monitor, plan, and just adjust as need be.
Hey Dan, is there a way we can see those emergency protocols just so we know what to expect in a weird event?
Yeah, definitely. We can put them on our school website page. We can get those up on there for sure.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, someone who might have missed an earlier part of the meeting is, yes, you can walk your child, your kids to school. We just ask that you say goodbye at the gate, either in front of the school or in the back of the school, as we cannot allow any family members on campus past the gates.
Is there a way to not have our children on screen time so much?
That's something you would want to talk with the individual teacher about, and what their plans are for how much screens to be used in the class. Every grade level will have different, lessons and different expectations for different subjects. Like for instance, our science curriculum is heavily based online, so there's some things that just have to be done online, at least to start a lesson, and then they can maybe transition into more traditional, hands-on type of things. So that's really a good individual question to ask of the teacher and see what he or she are planning for computer usage. And I see a question in the chat about emergency plans, and I was, not getting into, a whole bunch of details, but just our general plans of, if we have a lockdown, or, all of our doors are locked, and we, make sure that everyone's accounted for. And I can share just what different kind of drills we're going to do throughout the year. So it wouldn't be like we're giving away a bunch of secret information kind of thing. Any other questions? We'll stay on for a couple more minutes, but if you feel like you had all your questions answered, you are more than welcome to sign off. And thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. We really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you all next week. And thank you, interpreters. Really appreciate you being with us. I see one last question in the chat, and then I'm going to sign off. And school starts 1st through 6th grade. Next week, Wednesday the 8th at 8:40 in the morning, and we go all the way to 3:10. And remember, if you're a kindergarten student, you'll go to a connection meeting sometime the 8th, 9th, or the 10th, and your first day of school will be 8:40 on Monday, September 13th.
Where are we starting school?
I just said that. Wednesday, September 8th at 8:40, Marta.
I have a question about the buses.
Go for it, Victor.
Will you guys send the information of our buses to our parents, or?
Yes, that already should be in their Skyward account. So have your parents check their Skyward accounts and check their emails too, just to make sure. And if you don't see any bus information in one of those two places, call us here at the office and we'll help you out.
Okay.
And you can also go to the district website as well, and they have transportation information too. And that'll be another place you can go.
Okay.
All right, any other last questions? All right, well, I'm going to close down the meeting. And thanks all Meadowdale staff that joining me here tonight. Thank you for being here. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, feel free to unmute
Day,
your faces and let's hear your voices. What's that? I love to see those smiles. Bye, everyone. All right, I'm gonna end the recording and we'll see you guys soon.